Hi and welcome back. Recent figures for the 2024-25 academic year from the Office of the Children's Commissioner show that school attendance is not yet back to the 2019 levels. According to the response from teachers around this, the children most likely to have lower school attendance are those who need support with learning. The reasons for this are complex, particularly as every child is unique with individual needs. The 2025 school report published by Pearson last month identified that a large proportion of teachers and pupils agreed that the children were not ready for the next step of their learning journey. Despite various efforts to address, redefine, and even rebrand the name of this gap, the numbers have broadly stayed about the same for decades. In most classrooms, children cope with a range of barriers to their learning. Sensitivity to light and/or sound lead to fatigue and depleted focus, and there's a need for the children to reset. Low levels of self-regulation mean that the children are frustrated easily and they need to let off steam. If children are unable to detect the subtle differences at the onset, that means the front edge of the consonants, or confuse the sounds of vowels, they're going to be struggling to follow the gist of lessons as well as their reading, and they need to have all of the instructions repeated to them. There are also lower levels of vocabulary and comprehension, perhaps because English is an additional language, or perhaps because the children have actually had too little exposure to language in their early childhood. Low levels of focus also exist because children are distracted by, prevalent problems like hunger or head lice, or even both. Tired, drowsy, dreamy children find learning very heavy going. They might even be dissociating because of a stressful situation, and there may be a safeguarding concern for these children. Hypervigilant, restless children, on the other hand, have low impulse control, and they have a compulsion to check that the spaces around them are safe from threats, especially if a door opens or closes. And something as simple as that is enough to completely scatter their focus. Specific difficulties with eye movement control and speech, language, and oracy also need specific specialist support, and these can be areas of real developmental need. Now, the benefits of an inclusive system in schools are that each child labelled with special educational needs and disabilities is likely to have multiple elements to their diagnosis. Therefore, they're extremely unique and individual. And nearly always, there are sensory difficulties of some kind as well as the individual processing difficulties. All of the child's learning needs need to be managed with sensitivity so that they can feel secure and so that their confidence can grow, with learning and happiness as equally desirable outcomes. Now, in primary schools, having teaching assistants and SEND specialist teachers in the classroom who are providing individual support for these children is essential, though costly. The benefits, however, are cumulative, as all the children in that class are going to benefit. A specialist teacher providing special support for just one child changes the atmosphere in that class for every single pupil. You see, when children see special support in place, they know that they are in a caring and safe environment. And this means that as a group, they are able to focus their attention on learning to a far greater extent. Now let's talk about the bottleneck. Children need assessment before they become eligible for support. Waiting lists for assessment are long, and the impact of waiting on the child's well-being is actually seen in the school attendance figures. There are additional effects of this on families and communities. These can even ripple out into the economy, as one parent has to leave work to support the child through this period of adjustment. Meanwhile, in the classroom, teachers are left to manage this situation with compassion, empathy, and resilience, and whilst delivering the curriculum. So, what can rhythm offer? Rhythm meets children where they are. And of course, as I've already explained, they are all in different places. But if we picture each child as a tree absorbing sunlight from the radiant teacher, the children with more leaves on their tree will absorb more light and become stronger. This is a virtuous spiral of education. And of course, there is a corresponding vicious circle in which the disadvantaged children do less well year on year. To help the weaker trees, the disadvantaged children, produce more leaves, we can transplant these saplings into enriched soil. Imagine taking these targeted children into another room and infusing them with nutrients that make all the difference to their learning. You see the changes in the whole child from the root upwards. And what would changes look like in the classroom? Well, there would be improvements in self-regulation, perception of phonemes at the onset of consonants. There would be an improvement in hypervigilant behaviour, restlessness and chatting. There would even be improvements in persistent drowsiness and dreaming. Reading fluency and a positive attitude to reading would be easy to spot. And also there'd be an increase in reading comprehension and the child's ability to listen to the teacher and absorb what they're saying. So engagement with learning and confidence in learning would grow very quickly. The extent of the change can be measured using standardized reading assessments. For children who have not responded well to phonics and are not yet decoding, the changes can actually be measured using quick tests of phonemic awareness, such as elision, blending, and sound matching. I like to use the Comprehensive Test of Phonological Processing Edition 2. It's a battery of 12 tests, but I think the first 3 are absolutely perfect for this purpose. So if children are already reading fluently and already engaging with learning, already understanding what they read, a rhythm-based approach will add just a little bit more proficiency to all of their reading skills and learning. And I would also add that in the past 20 years since I've been applying this approach to children's learning, many of these children I've worked with have told me that following Rhythm for Reading, they were able to spell better, write more, and join their letters up. And although I haven't actually measured these changes because these were not expected outcomes, I would be surprised if the benefits of rhythm did not ripple out to these other areas of learning well beyond reading. To find out more about working with rhythm, why not join me on my Thursday webinar? I'm going to be explaining how we can achieve results like this in just 10 weekly sessions of 10 minutes. I hope to see you there. Bye for now.